Yeah, I believe I saw on the ESPN ticker that Gronowski's out for like 3 to 6 weeks. So yeah,
That
I think they're going to be in trouble. They're in
yeah,
trouble right now.
yeah, that's not good for Iowa's chances to maybe get back into the race of the Big Ten, at least in the middle of the pack, because we'll get to like the bunch of them later. But I wanted to just like kind of shift over to Cyclones NFL to the Cyclones right now. Obviously, yesterday it was a game that nobody expected, and the Cyclones have suffered their first loss of the year, losing 38-30 in what was a pretty bad first half. Much better second half, but the first half was just pretty sloppy for Iowa State, and that put them behind the eight ball all game long. And just overall, pretty disappointing performance, probably the worst performance that we've seen since the Kansas game last year. So, I mean, there were a lot of things, there were a lot of frustration and disappointment within the fan base. But if you look at it, like if you look at it from probably a more optimistic perspective, which is kind of like the route I'm taking, there was improvement in the second half. There was improvement on that defense, but overall, there it was just wasn't enough. The improvements came a little too late, and it couldn't overcome what was a horrible first half. And we unfortunately have even more injuries to worry about, as if the injuries that we suffered coming into the game weren't already impactful.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are the walking wounded right now. It's just like this team cannot catch breaks injury wise. I will say the one positive from yesterday's game is that Quentin Taylor was absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing I was worried about, and I was like, man, how is he gonna do? But he actually he was stellar. Stellar yesterday. Hopefully, I mean, on the offensive side, and I was at the game yesterday, sitting in the north end zone. So that if you saw a walking side flag in the north end zone, that was me, um, on TV. But yeah, I mean, Carson Hansen went out with an injury, and Brett Eskelson went out with an injury. So hopefully, we'll probably get a injury update probably later this week when the injury things come out, and especially we'll get more info during Tuesday's press conference. Uh, but yeah, I mean, what I guess obviously we're still going to focus on the positives. What were some things that you liked um, in the game?
Um, I think definitely Rocco still had it. Like we saw the grit and toughness that this team had, even being down 17-0 in the first quarter. They were able to get some drives going, but they just kind of got in their own way, which was an uncharacteristic thing. It was just uncharacteristic penalties because in the first defensive drive of the game, we had an offside penalty on a 3rd and 4, which gave Cincinnati a first down. Ultimately, Cincinnati went on to score a touchdown. So this was a really uncharacteristic game discipline wise. And I mean, I think a lot of it just comes down to execution and attention to detail. That's obviously something that Matt Campbell preaches about. And this game yesterday, it was just one of those days where everything was out of whack for them. So I think if hopefully this is one of those like just you had a bad day, this isn't going to turn into a pattern. And usually this doesn't turn into a pattern for this Iowa State squad. So I mean, if you were eventually going to take a loss, but I think you took a loss to a Cincinnati team who I think maybe a lot of us underestimated could do, but we did see what they do against Kansas. And if it turns out that Cincinnati is in fact a really good team, then you could say that you lost to a pretty good Cincinnati team. Um, I mean, with Rocco, he did everything he could. He had 300 plus total or passing yards, 4 total touchdowns, 2 on the ground, and the toughness I just mentioned. He took a really big hit, which was ultimately ruled a targeting in the second quarter, and he was still able to come into the game. He definitely didn't look the same. He was able to connect in some of those passes, but you still saw some toughness out of Rocco Becht and wanting to go back in. So it's nice to see that your quarterback has that toughness, and that leadership is going to be huge for the morale of the squad. Obviously, losing Carson Hansen, and I mean, you also saw Chase Sowell get banged up during the game, but he was able to come back in. So you see toughness and grit on this team. It's just, can you be able to do that while also cleaning up a lot of those penalties and a lot of those procedural like moments where you made some uncharacteristic mistakes?